I can't believe it's already April 2023. I don't like how fast time is moving, but I wanted to reflect back on all the sneakers I purchased so far this year and make a top 10 list. Now, every single shoe on this list is one I have reviewed, so I'm not going to go into all the details for every shoe. If you want to know more, if you want to get an in-depth review, definitely go to my YouTube page and check out the individual review. And disclaimer, if you're just expecting like a top 10 most hyped 2023 list, this ain't it. This ain't the list. Number one, I just don't care about that stuff. I don't care about resale value. I don't care about hype. I like what I like, I buy what I like. And number two, there are a lot of hype sneakers that I wasn't able to get this year. So the Jordan 4 Seafoams, the Jordan 4 Crafts, the Jordan 4 SBs. Couldn't get any of them. I took L's on every single one of them. And it seems like Jordan 4s hate me. Didn't want to go through the resale market and pay $300 and $400. I don't think it's worth it. But overall, I was able to get pretty much every shoe that I really wanted. So I'm not too bummed out. Here we go. First up, at number 10, the Air Max 1 Crepe Soft Grey. I was able to get this shoe on a shock drop on sneakers. And I love this colorway. The muted and neutral tones on a very versatile silhouette. One of my favorites, the Air Max 1. But there's a few things that I don't love about this shoe. Number one is the canvas-based layer. I don't usually like canvas. I just feel like it holds dust a lot more stubbornly than other materials. Second thing that I don't love is the sail midsole. Would have preferred white. I know Nike pretty much defaults to sail midsoles now, but I feel like if it was a white midsole, it'll make this shoe pop a little bit more. And third thing that I don't love is the shoe doesn't come with extra laces, but I really think with white laces, or even that gray to match the swoosh, that would make the shoe pop a little bit more. But I love the tumbled leather on the swoosh. I love the colorway, like I said, it's so versatile. You can wear it with so many different outfits. And I really like this crepe outsole. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but this old man vibe that it gives off, that's the stage I'm in life, so I dig it. So overall, I'm really glad I got this shoe. Definitely not the only Air Max 1 on this list. And next up at number 9, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna include two shoes as part of the same collaboration. It is the Air Jordan 12 A Ma Maniére, the black and the white pair. A Ma Maniére obviously has done a bunch of collaborations with Jordan Brand. Most of them are very successful, very hyped, like the Jordan 1s, the Jordan 3s, and the Jordan 4s. They also did the Jordan 2s, which were really sick in my opinion. And they also did pretty well in terms of popularity, at least relatively speaking to other Jordan 2s. But I gotta admit, I was starting to feel like A Ma Maniére collaborations were getting kind of stale. They pretty much just chuck on burgundy with white or sail, call it a day. But when I got these shoes in person, poof, there's something about that burgundy that just makes the shoe look so much classier. That like elevates the shoe. I was able to grab both these pairs pretty easily on A Ma Maniére's website, which is a pretty welcome change to their past collaborations that was super hyped. So happy about that. And in person, the materials for the shoe, so nice. The suede on the mudguard for the white pair is a little smoother than the one on the black pair. It's not a huge discrepancy, but you do notice a difference. But the nubuck on the black pair, you can see the grain of the leather come through. It's really nice nubuck. A lot of times they'll smooth out the nubuck a lot so you don't see the leather grain. I do like that you can see the texture of the shoe. Both come with that kilted ankle collar, which gives it a more luxurious feel. Love that. I never thought the Jordan 12 silhouette was that nice, that versatile. But honestly, with these colors, they're more versatile than you would think. And even though this white pair is a lot more popular than the black pair, I think the black pair is still sitting on Nike.com and a few other stores, at least in some sizes. I think they're equal in my opinion. And generally, I probably like black shoes more than the average person, so I couldn't decide which one I like better. They both have to go at number 9. At number 8, a shoe with a lot of historical significance is the Jordan 13 Playoffs. Now this is the last shoe Michael Jordan wore for a full season as a member of the Bulls. As the name suggests, this is the shoe that he went on his last playoffs run. It isn't the shoe that he wore in the last game in Game 6 against the Utah Jazz. He actually came out with the Jordan 14s. He wasn't supposed to, but MJ does what MJ wants. And I love the Jordan 13 because it's just so comfortable. It's like the most comfortable Jordan from at least 1 to 14, especially for my wide feet. They're really good for wide footers. The padding inside is so soft. And if you can't tell, judging from this pretty bulky, stompy silhouette, it is very lightweight. And the materials from the tumbled leather on the mid panel to the very nice suede on the base layer. And of course you get one of the coolest features on a Jordan shoe, that hologram on the heel of the shoe. Love it. The Jordan 13, originally inspired by a panther. I never really loved the silhouette. I don't think it's a very versatile silhouette, but just off comfort and feel alone, had to get this shoe, not to mention the historical significance. Very happy I was able to get early access on the Jordan 13 Playoffs. Coming in at number 7 is one of the most creative and innovative shoes I can remember for a long time. It's the Nike Clot Cortez. Clot, founded by Edison Chen, one of the biggest stars in Asia. They've done a bunch of collaborations with Jordan Brand and Nike. And what I really appreciate about Clot is they always push the boundaries in their collaborations. It's kind of the opposite with A Ma Maniére, which is very simple, very predictable in a way. Clot always thinks outside the box. They do something radical sometimes, doesn't always hit, people don't always love them, but I appreciate them thinking outside the box. And this shoe might be the best example of that. If you haven't seen my review on the shoe, I recommend definitely check it out. This is essentially 3 shoes in one. So this, as you see it right now, is the first version. It's how you're supposed to wear it outdoors or anywhere you like. The second way you can wear it is remove this black cover, which exposes this white upper sole. And you're supposed to wear that indoors. In Asian culture, people usually take off their shoes or wear indoor shoes specifically. So that is the influence behind the second version of the shoe. And the third version of the shoe is it comes with special insoles that you can place in the black cover, which gives it this kung fu shoe look. If you've ever seen a kung fu movie, you'll definitely recognize those shoes, and I love it. As an Asian dude, I really appreciate Clot always incorporating Asian influence and kung fu influence into their shoes. But the one little complaint I have about this shoe is the sizing is hard to get right. So in this version of the shoe, if you don't have super wide feet, you can probably go true to size. However, if you remove the black cover, it becomes a looser shoe because there's not a lot of support holding up the upper sole. So it kind of feels like loose slippers, which I guess in a way is the purpose, but it definitely feels a little loose when you remove this black cover. Aside from that, all the little details like the kung fu drawing on the box to the yin yang pull tab on the heel of the shoe, I love it. Love the creativity. I like it so much I actually grabbed the Forrest Gump colorway that just came out yesterday, but I'll be honest, Clot has to reduce their shipping. I got the shoe on release date at 11 PM Eastern time. Cost me $20 to ship from LA to Boston. I don't think it costs that much to ship a shoe, so come on. Make it $10, $15 even. $20 is really pushing it. And number 6, one of my most anticipated shoes of 2023, Nike Air Max 1 86 Big Bubble. This is a shoe that I just reviewed. The mystique and story behind the shoe is obviously a reason why it was so hyped. But without that, just in a vacuum, the colorway and the Air Max 1 silhouette, this was a must shoe for me. I wasn't actually able to grab these shoes on sneakers on release date. I took an L. Thankfully, the shop concepts restocked about a week later. I was able to grab them on the restock. I would have gone nuts if I wasn't able to get this shoe. Now, if you didn't know, this was actually the original Air Max 1 with a bigger bubble than the modern day Air Max 1. However, they quickly found out this big bubble was prone to cracking, especially in colder climates. So they had to redesign the shoe, and quietly in 1987, they re-released the Air Max 1, which became the Air Max 1 that we all know and love now today. And I really appreciate all the details and thought that Nike put behind this shoe. According to Nike.com, they took 1 out of 400,000 original pairs, put it through a CT scan to get this shoe as close to the original as possible. And if that's true, that's very impressive. And another thing is Nike.com actually put in a lot of detail in the description on their website. Usually they don't do that. Usually it's like one paragraph, they throw in a bunch of words, they mention the color, and that's it. No story behind the shoe. But this one, you could tell they put extra effort into. Love it. In a vacuum, I don't know if I prefer the bigger bubble over the small bubble. Still undecided there, but I'm glad they didn't go with the reimagined or pre-aged aesthetic for this shoe. Thank God, it is a white midsole, as white as it can be. Glad they kept this to the OG colorway. Now, images of a blue pair of big bubbles have surfaced, and I really wish Nike will not oversaturate and milk the market with big bubble Air Maxes. I think the mystique and the story of the shoe should remain intact. They should keep it the way it is. It's a pretty rare thing for them to come out with a big bubble. Really hope they don't oversaturate the market with it. But knowing Nike, we're gonna get every single colorway you see on other shoes with a big bubble on the Air Max 1. I can just feel it. And number 5 is a Jordan 5. It's a women's exclusive, Jordan 5 Dunk on Mars. This shoe is rumored to be part of a bigger capsule. I haven't heard any more news about it yet, but it was inspired by the film She's Gotta Have It by Spike Lee, inspired by the main character in that film, Mars Blackman. And this is a shoe that I thought would do really, really well. But surprisingly, I think they're still available on Nike.com. They're just sitting. Part of the reason I think is a lot of people may already have the Raging Bulls from, I think it was 2021. That was an all red shoe as well, a suede upper sole. But this shoe isn't all red, it is a more orangey red color, but they are very close. I wasn't able to grab the Raging Bulls, I took an L on that one, but so glad I'm able to get a pair on these, and very easily as well. And dare I say, I think I actually prefer this colorway, this orangey red, to the Raging Bulls. I just do. And what I love most about it is the bright mandarin outline on the shark teeth. So they didn't go with speckles that you see on other Jordan 5s this time, they went with a flat color on the shark teeth. I think that bright mandarin color with the red looks really, really sick. Another thing that I love is they included the 23 on the side heel of the shoe. That 23 doesn't always come for every Jordan 5, so when it does, I get a little giddy. I love that. And the Jordan 5 is my favorite silhouette. It is so comfortable, especially for my wide feet. It feels so nice, I could wear them all day. And as someone that likes red shoes, this was a must-have for me. I nearly doubled up on this shoe, but because it was a women's exclusive, Wasn't a full-size run. I didn't want to be that guy that took another pair away from someone else that really wanted them. Haven't had a chance to wear the shoe a lot. We're still getting out of winter in the northeast of the US, but come summertime, this is going to be worn to death. And number 4 is my favorite Air Max 1 to date of 2023, Air Max 1 Shima Shima. This is another shoe that I thought would do really well. The original Shima Shima pack released like 20 years ago. It was very exclusive back then because it didn't release in the United States, so you had to jump through circles to get a pair from the Shima Shima pack. This is an addition to that pack, and it did release in the United States, but I think most sizes are available right now on Nike.com still, and I don't get it. This colorway is so clean. I love everything about this colorway. The neutral, earthy, muted tones. Love it. I think it's so versatile, so wearable. I also love that it comes with a base leather layer instead of mesh that you see on other Air Max 1s. I generally like leather a lot more. I think it's the best texture to feel and touch. On the tongue, you see Japanese characters that say Shima Shima, as well as the insole. Now, Shima means stripes in Japanese, which explains the stripes on the inside of the shoe. Still waiting for Nike to clarify why they chose stripes as the inspiration behind this shoe, but as someone that has an entire Japanese sleeve tattooed on themselves, I really appreciate the Japanese influence. The nubuck on the mudguard as well as the swoosh is so soft, it's so smooth. Love everything about this shoe. Actually, as I'm talking about this and I'm looking at this shoe again, I think I'm gonna double up. Clearly nobody else wants them. I'm not taking a pair away from anyone else. So I'm gonna get a second pair of these. These are so nice, and honestly, I think in 10 to 20 years, people are gonna realize if they didn't buy this shoe now, they're gonna realize they missed out. And number 3, it is my favorite color on my favorite shoe, Air Jordan 5 UNC. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the UNC blue. I just love it. It's intangible. I can't put it into words. I love this color. The nubuck on this shoe is as smooth as nubuck can be. You can't see the leather texture come through, which I kind of prefer more than just straight smooth nubuck, but you can tell the quality of the nubuck is great. The ankle collar of the shoe is also kilted, which gives it a more luxurious and premium feel. In terms of comfort, I think a kilted or non-kilted material feels pretty similar. I can't really tell the difference, but it does look great. And because it is a college colorway, we get a Jordan tag on the booty of the shoe, not Nike Air, which I actually don't mind. I think Nike Air, if you reserve it for just OG colorways, no problem at all. And I actually don't mind the Jordan tag. I think the Jordan tag is actually better than the Jumpman on the booty of the shoe. Honestly, at this point, as long as we don't get We The Best on the heel, I'm fine with it. Unfortunately, unlike the Jordan 5 Dunk on Mars, this doesn't come with that 23. If it did, this would be a perfect shoe. Now, this shoe did sell out pretty quickly, but I was able to grab a pair on sneakers. It wasn't like one of those instant sellout super hype shoes on sneakers where the app just breaks. Glad not everyone loves this colorway. More for me. I just love this shoe. Again, Jordan 5, my favorite silhouette, perfect comfort for my wide feet. I will admit it's not the most versatile shoe. The blue is super out there, it's super eye-catching. People don't always want that attention. But for me, because I love this color, I love this shoe, I'll wear anywhere, everywhere. And number 2, a shoe that caused a lot of controversy, but also might be some people's sneaker of the year, the Jordan 3 White Cement Reimagined. This is an OG colorway from back in 1988, one of the best colorways on one of the best Jordan shoes to ever release. But as mentioned before, it came with a lot of controversy. There was a lot of QC issues with this shoe. Some people got thin elephant print on one shoe, thick elephant print on the other. Some people apparently were missing the Nike Air on the back of the shoe, which is just insane to me. I don't know how that ever passes QC. I happen to get both on the left and right shoe, the thick elephant print, and honestly, it doesn't bother me too much. The thin elephant print is what they had on the original pair back in 1988. A lot of people were expecting thin elephant print. I don't really mind, at least mine is consistent. At this point, we're so used to the thick elephant print from previous Jordan 3 general releases that I'm kind of used to it by now. I prefer the thin elephant print, it looks cleaner in my opinion, OG or not. I never really loved the pre-aged aesthetic. I think at this point it's kind of played out, but you can't deny, if you got a pair that you're satisfied with, you can't deny how nice this shoe is. Now, I totally get if your shoes came with QC issues. I get that you're upset, I get that you would hate this shoe, but at least for me, I can only review the shoe that I get. I'm satisfied, but not enough to be number 1. And at number 1, the shoe probably won't be on anyone's list, the Jordan 23 Year of the Rabbit. Maybe it's because the Jordan 23 hasn't been retroed properly since its inception in 2008, and I just really want it back, or because this is a Lunar New Year special, but I love this shoe. The pastel green colorway, I think it's so clean. The Jordan 23 was always one of my favorite Jordans, especially when Jordan Brand entered kind of a new era after the Jordan 14s. And all the details that tie into Lunar New Year, I really appreciate. Like the red design around the Jumpman on the tongue, and the rabbit you see on the inside of the tongue, of course, for the Year of the Rabbit, and the red insole where it's made to look like a red pocket that people give out during Lunar New Year. Love it all. Not to mention the usual Jordan 23 details, like Michael Jordan's signature on the toe box, as well as Michael Jordan's thumbprint on the outsole of the shoe. Love all of it. I think this is such a clean shoe, and it took so much effort for me to actually get this shoe. The Jordan 23 was never released in the US, so I had to contact family back in Taiwan to get this shoe to me, to ship it to me from Taiwan. It took a while, and when I finally got them, no disappointment. And I have no idea why this shoe never released in the US. There's a huge population in the United States that celebrate Lunar New Year. I don't know what the logic and thinking behind it is, but for next year, I really hope Jordan Brand would just release the entire Lunar New Year pack in the US as well as the rest of the world. In a vacuum, I think the Jordan 3 Reimagined and this shoe probably equal in terms of how much I like the shoe, but the journey this took, how exclusive and hard it was to get, this is my #1 sneaker for Q1 2023. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of my top 10 list. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.